I never thought my life would take such an unexpected turn. My name is Anna. I'm 34 years old, and I've been happily married, or so I thought, for 12 years. I live in a small but cozy suburban house with my husband, Mark, and our 2 children, Lily, 10, and Ethan, 8. Our life was simple but content. My days were filled with the usual routine, getting the kids ready for school, managing household chores, and enjoying quiet evenings with Mark, where we'd laugh about our days or plan our weekend family outings. Mark worked long hours, but he always said it was for us to give the kids a better future. Little did I know, those peaceful days were about to change forever. We were the picture of stability. Every morning I'd pack the kids' lunches and wave goodbye as they ran to the school bus. Afternoons were spent tidying up the house, and evenings were for family dinners. Mark, though often late, would usually make it home in time to kiss the kids goodnight. Our weekends were filled with laughter, picnics at the park, board games, and the occasional movie night. I was content, truly believing we were living a happy, normal life. But looking back, I realized there were signs I ignored: moments when Mark seemed distracted, times when his phone would buzz incessantly, and he'd step outside to take a call. The shift began subtly, almost imperceptibly. One morning as I was taking out the trash, I noticed our neighbor, Sarah, standing by her garden. She smiled at me, a little too warmly, and said, "Anna, you're so lucky to have Mark." It wasn't her words, but the way she said them, soft, almost wistful, that unsettled me. I laughed it off, but the seed of doubt had been planted. Later that week, Mark came home unusually late. When I asked him where he'd been, he mumbled something about a work meeting and went straight to bed. His answers were short, his tone distant. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept circling back to Sarah's words. The next day, I decided to confront Mark. Over breakfast, I casually asked about his late nights and the increasing number of phone calls. His response was curt. "Work's been stressful, Anna." You wouldn't understand. I didn't push further, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Determined to get to the bottom of it, I began to observe him more closely. That evening, while he was in the shower, I picked up his phone. It was locked, but a message preview caught my eye. "Can't wait to see you again. Last night was amazing." My heart dropped. As the days passed, the tension between us grew palpable. Mark started spending even more time away from home. He'd claimed to be working late, but his receipts told a different story: fancy dinners, unexplained purchases, and hotel bookings. The kids began to notice, too. Lily asked me one night, "Mom, why is Dad always angry?" Ethan had started withdrawing, spending more time alone in his room. It broke my heart to see them hurt. One evening, I decided to confront Sarah. Gathering my courage, I knocked on her door. She opened it, surprised but composed. "Anna," she said, her tone syrupy sweet. "I didn't expect to see you here." I asked her point blank if there was something going on between her and Mark. She smirked, her eyes gleaming with something that looked like triumph, and said, "Maybe you should ask your husband that." The situation was tearing our family apart. Lily, once cheerful and full of life, had become quiet and withdrawn. Ethan, sensing the tension, would hug me tightly at night, as if trying to protect me from something he couldn't understand. Mark, on the other hand, seemed oblivious to the damage he was causing. He was distant, irritable, and completely uninterested in our lives. The man I had once loved felt like a stranger. I tried talking to Mark again, hoping to salvage what we had. One evening, after the kids were asleep, I sat him down and poured out my heart. "Mark, I know something's going on. Please just tell me the truth." His reaction was cold. "You're imagining things, Anna. Stop acting paranoid," he said before walking out of room. I felt helpless, trapped in a situation I couldn't control. Financially, I depended on him. Emotionally, I was tied to the hope that maybe, just maybe, things could go back to the way they were. I spent countless nights crying, questioning everything. Was it my fault? Had I failed as a wife? My thoughts spiraled into darkness. I wanted to keep our family together, but at what cost? Every glance at Sarah's house filled me with anger and sadness. She seemed so confident, so unapologetic. And Mark, he wasn't even trying to hide his indifference anymore. The breaking point came when Mark didn't come home one night. He didn't answer my calls, didn't respond to my messages. The next morning he walked in casually, as if nothing had happened. Where were you? I demanded, my voice trembling. He looked at me, his face devoid of emotion, and said, I need some space, Anna. Maybe we both do. It felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. The man I had built my life with was slipping away, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. If this story touched you, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support means the world to me, and helps me share more stories like this.